Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards share 2 daughters together. One is Sammy Sheen, who is 21 years old, and her younger sister, Lola Sheen, who is 20 as of this month. And I just want to show you a picture of them together so we can demonstrate the difference between these 2 young women. On the left is Lola Sheen, the younger sister, and on the right is Sammy Sheen. And, you know, the difference between these 2 girls is apparent. One of them looks like a real human being, and the other one looks dead in the eyes, injected, spray tanned, literally just a fake person. And the differences between these 2 sisters are more than skin deep. They also completely diverge in their core values, as is evident from their public feuds over the last several months. And the most recent being over Lola Sheen's views on gay relationships and trans identity. Sammy Sheen, the older sister, who, if you don't recall, joined OnlyFans back in 2022, just months after turning 18. She posted a TikTok titled "A Message to My Sister Since She Blocked Me" at Lola. And she essentially took to her platform to call out her sister for being allegedly homophobic and transphobic and closed-minded because she is Christian. Sammy Sheen does not share any of the same values that Lola Sheen has. And the fact that Lola Sheen seems to have these more traditional values and is kind of based has nothing to do with the way that she was raised, because obviously Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards did not instill these values in her. She found them on her own when she grew up. And she's been open about her conversion to Christianity and joining a church in her area. And she says it's completely transformed her life, and that she found faith at a very low point when she was struggling with her mental health. And she's also sharing her testimony. She has a public podcast related to her faith. On the other hand, Sammy Sheen is making big bucks selling pictures of her tits. So they literally could not be more different from each other. And Sammy Sheen decided to make their feud public instead of talking to her own flesh and blood in private about their differences.
Because she got blocked, right? That's what she's saying. Like, likely she was sending her some type of, like, annoying message that was extremely judgmental. She's like, I don't want to put up with this, so she blocked her.
So we'll watch her video now.
My mom did an amazing job raising me and my sister to be very accepting of everyone's sexuality and gender identity and everything else under the sun. So that's why it is so...
To be fair, before we continue, remember that one of the first things they did after she joined OnlyFans with her mom was to talk about collaborating on OnlyFans with her mom. So...
it was only weeks after Sammy Sheen started OnlyFans that Denise Richards followed suit, because she is insane.
So, you know, take of that what you will about whether you think that person's judgment matters to you.
Yeah.
So sad for me to see that my own sister is homophobic and transphobic now. And I wasn't going to take it to the internet, but she has her reposts on, and they're public for everyone to see, and she has been reposting this man's stuff. And it disgusts me, because it's so sad that she's this conformed to her religion that now she thinks like this. I understand everyone has their own beliefs, but you don't have to be transphobic or homophobic to follow your beliefs, okay? Someone's sexuality and someone's gender identity should not affect you. Who gives a shit what someone identifies as? If that makes them happy, let them be. Stop trying to tell people that there's something wrong with them because they identify a certain way. So this is the video that made me make this video. She reposted this. It's this man named Bryce Crawford. I have a fucking bone to pick with this guy, okay? I stalked his page. He has a podcast page and a regular page. This video is basically talking about when someone is transgender, it's them not following the way that God made them, and the way they feel about their gender is a sin, because what's their actual gender is what's in between their legs, and they can't change that, so they need to change their brain. And my sister reposted that. She also reposted this video. I was really confused by this until I went to his page and saw that He was so excited to go to this parade, not to support gay people and fight for rights and everything, but to mock them and pray over them and ask them like what happened to them as a child to make them turn out this way. I asked Lola if she would want to come to a pride party with me, and she laughed in my face. I also asked her how she would feel about me if I ended up marrying a girl, and she got really weird and was like, well, I mean, I guess I would come to the wedding, but I think every woman needs a man to provide for them. Right. Yeah, because men are so amazing.
Okay, pause. This woman is on OnlyFans. You have millions of men providing for you, so let's not act like you're above it all.
Okay.
It's really sad that I'm related to someone like this when we've both been raised the same way, and I am a part of the fucking LGBTQ community, and I wish my sister was a fucking ally. It's just honestly disgusting, closed-minded behavior, and I really hope she snaps out of this eventually. And the reason I'm making this video is because she has officially blocked me. Like, I sent her this, she can't even have the decency to respond to me, okay? And then she finally responds to something else completely unrelated, but then when I bring up this topic again, she doesn't respond. And then I woke up to seeing that she reposted this video, so I sent it to her, and I'm officially blocked. Which confirms everything, because if she didn't feel that way towards people, she would explain herself. So
that's fundamentally untrue. What you're doing is you've entered into a discussion with somebody in bad faith, and you're putting them on the defensive, and it is natural to not want to engage with you because likely you're just looking for any type of response because you come from a place of kind of infuriating moral superiority.
Oh, and I want to play the last part because it's so self-righteous. The call out.
Oh, Lola, if you're watching this, I urge you, just for 5 minutes, put the Bible down. It's gonna be okay. You can live without it for 5 minutes. And pick up a pride flag and support the fucking community, because I don't know if you've realized it is Pride Month. And you reposting those things during Pride Month is just otherworldly. I don't know who you are anymore. This is not you. We were not raised like this. And I'm embarrassed. I am fucking embarrassed that my own sister is a homophobe. Do better. Seriously.
As I said before, when we were not on air, I said, telling somebody to do better is like the one.
I'm gonna reenact a phone call that I just had.
Is the one thing in the world you should be allowed to just like start a duel with somebody over. Like, there is nothing more infuriating than somebody telling you to do better.
Yeah. She quite literally said, put down the Bible and pick up the pride flag.
My mom did an amazing job.
So, like, what's ironic is, like, she's being just as judgmental back at her, so it's just a judgmental off.
Well, it's funny because I read into all of Lola Sheen's interviews about her family. They launched a reality TV show about Denise Richards and her daughters back in March on Bravo called Denise Richards and Her Wild Things. And they had a lot of scenes where Lola and Sammy were getting into spats, not over politics or religion or their values, but just interpersonal disputes. And Lola was commenting on her decision to be a part of the show. And she actually was kind of the least judgmental person I've ever heard. She said, you know, we obviously live very different lives and have very different beliefs, but that's okay. I'm doing what makes me happy, etc. This was her thoughts on her sister and mother joining OnlyFans in 2022. I would never judge anybody for doing OnlyFans because that has nothing to do with me. But I just know that it cannot be the best for your mental health. My reaction was I was a little worried, but not judgmental, just concerned because she's putting herself out there for all these people. And I didn't want it to take a toll on her as a person. So that's why I was worried. She says she would never encourage someone to do OnlyFans and insists that she's not supportive and would not judge anyone for doing it. I feel the same way about both of them joining OnlyFans. It's just like what they want to do. It's not what I would do. I would never want my kids to do that. So it's kind of not for me, but it's clearly what they like, and that's okay. So she's treading on eggshells, trying not to sound judgmental, and despite her best efforts is still being dragged in public by her own flesh and blood for her beliefs, which are tied to her religion, which are completely understandable. And, you know, if these two girls were raised properly, they would be shamed in their household for bringing their private disputes into the public eye. And Sammy Sheen actually should be ashamed of herself for doing that, because there's no concept of loyalty to your family in what we just watched.
Yeah.
She doesn't care if she's completely immolating her sister's reputation. She only cares about looking like the virtuous one.
Yeah.
And she knows that, of course, her audience on TikTok is going to applaud her for this and say, like, she's an ally. But, you know, the message should be, you go talk to each other. Go talk to your mother, not the internet. The internet is not going to solve this problem for you. She also just last month talked about their interaction over Mother's Day when they were celebrating Denise Richards, their mother. And Sammy Sheen said she wanted to respond to the people saying Lola is nice and clarify that actually she's the nice one and Lola is mean, because Sammy was bragging about all of the money she spent on her mom for Mother's Day. Money that she got off of OnlyFans. Meanwhile, her younger sister, Lola, chooses to be a restaurant hostess. Not a Nepo baby, not an actress, not a model. No, she has a very normal job for a person her age. She has very modest goals for her life. She chooses to live conservatively. It was very hard for her to convince herself even to be on this reality TV show. But her reasoning, as she put it, is, you know, she just felt that it would be really important to be someone in the public eye who could talk about her faith.
Yeah, I think she probably underestimated how difficult that was actually going to be in the current cultural climate.
Of course, you're going to get
acceptable.
backlash from people who are not related to you, but you wouldn't expect your own sister who you grew up with to be one of them. We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. Either of you folks know when the word turd do better got dropped into the Caddyshack swimming pool that is our society?
I mean, I think that it's been relevant for a long time, but a lot of people think back to Sam Wilson in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he says, "You got to do better, Senator." The idea of like grandstanding like that was ridiculous at that time. And again, I think for the most part, like, when you hear that phrase, it's a blanket, it's a cudgel, it's a weapon. It's used to force you to behave a certain way, and it denies the humanity that you have and the nuance that you can have as an individual. So when you talk about these types of topics, the reason I hate the idea of being an ally so much is because you're expected to speak on behalf of a whole bunch of people that you've never met, who could have varying beliefs, and the only thing that they really have in common is that they conform into whatever group of oppression you're speaking of in this instance. And I don't think of people as members of groups. I think of people as individuals, which is why I think it's one of the hardest things for me to do in this job is to talk about things on a macro scale, because it's kind of what you have to do because you're talking about larger concepts. But speaking on individuals and what they believe, who they are, even getting down to what they're talking about and who they choose to love, is something that I find way more interesting, because the individual will always be more interesting to me than what the large group says, because the large group is going to be dictated by whoever is the loudest and the meanest and the most power hungry of that group. And in today's society, that's even worse in the age of the internet. And the phrase "do better" sucks.
We are officially past the peak of what was once called cancel culture. I think a lot of people are saying cancel culture is dead. I wouldn't say that, but we're definitely past the point where it was at its peak of relevance. Mm-hmm. The saddest thing about this story to me, it has nothing to do with the fact that they're celebrities or the children of celebrities. What is sad about it is that experience is not exclusive to celebrities. There are family members torn apart by divergent political views and social views and faith all the time. And it's not just people who have a public platform who feel the need to do call outs. And Lola even recalled that at Thanksgiving last year, they were able to put their differences aside and just laugh and talk together. And it was like they had never been on the outs in the first place. Yeah. But Sammy Sheen, being the one who is more public and has a bigger following and sexualizes herself online, she was the one who reignited their beef and made it into a public spectacle.
Also, large groups like this tend to believe in the idea of punching up and punching down. And in this case, just by virtue of her fame, she's punching down. So, look, I don't subscribe to whether that's a reason you should have an opinion or not. But by their own logic, she's doing wrong by punching down on somebody that has no desire to be in the public image.
Well, at the peak of cancel culture, though, it was commonplace for siblings to turn on each other and expose problematic tweets or whatever, or for children to cancel their parents. That was just commonplace back then. Mm-hmm. Now I think it's a little more frowned upon, fortunately, but clearly this is still happening. And if it affects celebrities who are literally on a reality TV show showing the world all of their disputes, it's certainly true for people in their private lives who have no such concerns about what millions of people think.
Yeah, and I do think that your love of family and your commitment to your family should run deeper than whatever your in fashion or out of fashion political views are, and that goes for both of them, meaning that whether you support what Lola believes or you support what Sammy believes, they should be able to put aside what they believe and love their sibling because they're their sibling. And in a lot of ways, that's all you have in the world. The people that will turn, granted, Sammy seems to be kind of proving that concept wrong here, but I think that that's on a large scale not the accurate assessment of how family should be, which is that, you know, when it all falls apart and everybody gives up on you, no matter what you believe, your family should be there for you, work to pick you up when you're down, and love you no matter what. And I do believe that's true for both of them, no matter what either of them believe.
Right, yeah.
Like what their beliefs are is immaterial here. Your family should love you. And that goes for what Sammy is saying about sexuality and what Lola is saying about religion. If they disagree with you, that shouldn't stop them from loving you.
This is why it's such a cancer that everybody behaves and acts as if they're a celebrity these days.
Yeah, everybody's running for president, as I always say.
Everybody's running for president, and they think that they need to project a certain image on social media, even though no one cares about you. And they feel they need to have a brand, and even if a family member tarnishes it, that is a personal affront to you. At the end of the day, your TikTok followers and your OnlyFans subscribers are not going to be there for you when it counts. Your sister is the only one you have.
They will abandon you. Yes. The second you have that's true for like even if you went as far as like what we do on a much smaller scale, which is that you know, people here might agree with the things that we say, but you could have one opinion. And I see this on X all the time, right? Somebody has one opinion that's wildly divergent from everything else they believe, and the names calling starts, and suddenly they're persona non grata. Anything in this space is a fair weather friend. And the ones that the family that you were born into, that's a lot of times going to be the only ones that you can trust. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.